Hey guys, today is February 17th, 2025. This is Beanball Buzz. Today on today's episode of Beanball Buzz, we're going to be discussing Paul Skeens adding some new pitches, maybe Acuna or Strider, which is more important for the Braves to get back to their 2023 form. What does a healthy Jacob deGrom look like? And we'll also dive into the NL Wild Card battlefield and talk about what that could look like today on Beanball Buzz. Thank you guys again for joining us on Beanball Buzz. Today, I'm excited to introduce you guys to a couple new members of the team that you guys may not know. They're not new to me because we've all been discussing this for a number of months, but they are a little bit new to you. So to you, it looks like your left is Logan Wundy. We just call him Wundy. I jokingly call him the Wonder Boy because he does everything for me. Any graphic, anything you see like that we may be putting out, chances are Wundy's doing it for us. So we kind of can't survive without him, and we appreciate everything he does. And then, of course, with us today is Evan. Evan, I blanked on your last name, bro.
Bro, it's Johnson.
Johnson, that's right. Okay, so Evan Johnson with us. Like I said, today we're going to be discussing a few new things. Number one, Paul Skeens. Well, we got a report a couple days ago that Paul Skeens is testing out maybe a cutter and a two-seamer, which seems to me a little bit unfair, considering he's already one of the best pitchers in baseball. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. Go ahead, Evan.
Paul, I'm going to be real with you, bro. You need to leave these bats alone. I don't know what they did to you in your childhood, your teenage years, whatever. Maybe you could have had a beard and they cut it off. Leave these daggone batters alone. You already got like six pitches. How many?
Yeah,
need,
it's kind of preposterous. I did kind of dive into some of the stats. He already has.
He's just upset he can't hit anymore.
Right, and hey, I mean that's kind of scary, right? To think about. Had he stuck around as a two-way player, what could that have looked like? I think he chose the right path. We're probably going to see him winning multiple Cy Youngs over the next decade. But yeah, like I said, like Evan alluded to, 6 pitches already, and 5 of them carry a positive run value. That seems almost unheard of, honestly. Yeah, most pitchers in today's game have 2, maybe 3 positive run value pitches, and that is pretty good for a major league starting pitcher. Not Paul Skeens. He's got 5 above average pitches, and he's apparently talking about adding 1 or 2 more to that arsenal. It seems we keep saying unfair, but it seems impossible. But I mean, I guess you've got guys like Yu Darvish who continually just add pitches. Like I remember a couple years ago, Yu Darvish watched somebody throw a slider and he was like, "Hey, I like that pitch. I'm going to learn how to throw it." And he replicated that person's pitch. So I don't know if we get into stuff like that with Paul Skeens, we might just have to cancel the Cy Young race for the next 10 years. So, which
he's going to be everything. Like, as Braves fans, we thought Spencer Strider with his new curveball was going to be crazy, and it worked out well. But Paul Skeens adding another pitch that can move like a cutter is just another way for him to just say, "Go sit down."
I'm a cutter slut. That's what I call myself, cutter slut.
He's a clutter.
I love a cutter. Yeah, he's a clutter. Well, what was it a couple years ago on the Braves broadcast when the sweeper was coming out? They called it the slutter on the on the big board. It said slutter. So that's me. I'm a slutter. There's just something gross about a really good cutter that it just like I don't know. The more I think about it, Paul Skeens doesn't deserve a cutter. He does because it's insane, but he doesn't deserve it because it's just not fair. But we're talking about all of this. Paul Skeens is a great pitcher. They also have Jared Jones. They have Mitch Keller. The rotation seems stacked. But as we were kind of discussing prior to coming on here, really underwhelming offseason for the Pirates. And I think that's a bit of a bummer. I wrote down a couple names that they brought in. Horwitz, Kutch, of course, Pham, Frazier, and Caleb Ferguson. I don't know.
Pham is maybe the best out of that group. Or actually, I guess Horowitz is the best out of that group. But the best signing was Tommy Pham.
That's kind of tough.
They only got like 2, maybe 3 bats in that lineup, and even in the NL Central with the way the NL Central looking, that's just not going to cut it.
No, it's not. The offense won't be on par.
Especially with how much the Cubs have added this year.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was just about to say.
The Brewers.
The Brewers are the Brewers. The Cubs. The Cubs feel like they went.
When we say the Brewers are the Brewers, do we mean that in a good way or a bad way? Because it could go either way with them.
Yes.
I totally understand what you're saying. You're absolutely right, because it's like, yeah, exactly.
They'll find Brewers, pitchers, but they won't find batters.
Yes, they find pitchers. I don't know. They found William Contreras for whatever reason. The Braves.
Wow.
I understand why the Braves traded William Contreras, because their pitchers didn't like throwing to him. He was a great bat, but they wanted a good defensive catcher. The big part of me, or the big thing I don't understand about how that deal happened is why in the hell did the Athletics let the Brewers even get involved in that trade? That's the thing that will always baffle me about that. It does suck as a Braves fan seeing William play so well. Yeah, they wanted Yuri Perez, is what it was. But then they demoted the guy.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, not Yuri Perez. Yuri Perez is a pitcher from Marlins. I apologize.
Soon to be
I can't remember his name. Yeah, soon to be ex-Marlin. You're right. Everybody who's in a Marlins uniform is a soon to be ex-Marlin.
Soon to be ex-Marlin.
Unfortunately, I would like to see good baseball in Miami, but we'll see how that goes. There was. What was I going to say about the Brewers? Oh, yeah. I agree with what you're saying. Is the Brewers always build a competitive team. They're always in the mix. but then they get to the postseason and they're kind of a punchline, right? It's like whoever beats the Brewers goes to the World Series. And that's just crazy. Now, that didn't happen this year. The Mets did not make it to the World Series. That's the first time in like 50 years, however long they've existed, that the team that beat them did not make it to the World Series. So
that's equally hilarious and understandable because like the Dodgers last year were absolutely stacked. So like it makes sense why the Mets lost that. But on the other hand, of course the Mets will be the one to break that streak.
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit of like, here we go again. Poor Mets fans. I don't know. We won't get there. Diamond might get a little bit too excited if we throw him in the room.
That's where that came from. We got what, 7 more months of this?
Yeah.
Bro, we got 8 more months of this, bro. I got plenty of them in the chamber.
Yeah. So I mean, sure they could compete with. I mean, with their rotation is going to be insane. So that'll be exciting to watch. I don't know what to expect from the offense. Maybe some guys take some steps. Maybe Ke'Bryan Hayes comes back and he's not one of the worst hitters in baseball again.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I mean, everybody knows his problem and why he just hits the ball on the ground too much.
Yeah.
Like that's Ke'Bryan's problem. He hits the ball hard into the ground.
Yeah, and he's such a good defender that, even though his bat was absolutely terrible last year, he was still a valuable player. But he's a guy that I root for. I want to see that guy, produce. So not to harp too long on the NL Central because, that's kind of going to be, I don't know, it's going to be more interesting this year with the Cubs doing what they've done, but
we'll get into that more later.
It's still, it's still kind of a mid division is what I would say.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So yeah. So, anyways, moving on, not to stay on Paul Skeens for too long. This week we had reports that Ronald Acuna Jr., in his own words, is running at 90 to 95%. That seems like good numbers this early in spring training. That means that he feels good enough to be out there giving it his all when he's running. And then simultaneously, the Braves also got positive report on Spencer Strider that he is expected back sooner rather than later. It's even possible that he could be pitching in some spring training games. And it begs the question, right? Which one of these guys is more important to the Braves finding that ability to get back to being the juggernaut that we saw in 2023? Did either one of you guys have a specific opinion on that?
Well, all right. Well, personally, I think Spencer Strider makes the Braves a playoff team. He makes them like a team that can make it to the NLCS, right? Go on a deep playoff run. Ronald Acuna makes the Braves a World Series team because it's very clear that with
that's Acuna, a good way to put it.
This is the team that could push the Phillies, the Dodgers, and anybody and any other surprise team that we might know nothing about right now, and make it to the World Series, maybe even win it. Because if you really think about it, how many series late in the season and in the playoffs were you sitting there and going, if the Braves had Acuna, this is a whole different conversation we're having. Like if the Braves have Acuna, maybe the Mets don't even the Braves have Acuna at the end of the season. Maybe the Mets don't even make it in the playoffs because Atlanta wins both those games in the doubleheader at the end. And then if Acuna's there for the Padres, do the Braves beat the Padres? I honestly think they do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're.
That's so
It sounds like you're
hard
speaking
because
out of
when
my
they were
mind.
playing the
Yeah.
Padres, it wasn't just Acuna.
It wasn't. Yeah, I mean, when the Braves had to play the Padres, they were missing Austin Riley, Spencer Strider, who we're also discussing here. Chris Sale ends up going down the last day of the season. So
Mm-hmm.
you're correct, Wendy, that there is a lot that was left to be desired in that series for the Braves. But to to build off of what Evan just said, yeah, it does create the question that if the Braves had just had a healthy Ronald Acuna last year, do the Mets even get close to where they're at? I mean, sure, they played all their other games and everything like that, but how much better are the Braves than they were last year? Do those two games even matter for the Braves? Yeah, so I mean,
No,
you could
that's
play
hard
what
to
ifs all you want. Maybe the Mets force those games to be, relevant, and they have to play to get past the Diamondbacks still. But I don't think that people would be equating the Mets with the Braves had Ronald Acuna been healthy last year. So that's a good point.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Wendy. What are you gonna say?
Well, what I was thinking is it just this year I think it will be Ronald Acuna just because of how our outfield looks. Like we have good players for the outfield until he comes back. But I don't want Jared Kelenic to be an everyday player. Like I like Jurickson Profar and I like Michael Harris. Well, I love Michael Harris. He's
Of course.
awesome. But you need a star in the outfield, and we have Michael Harris. He's a star, but Acuna is unlike any other, and
he's a superstar.
He makes that outfield go from it's a good outfield to a scary outfield.
Okay, that's also a solid point. Well, I agree with both of you that the answer is Ronald Acuna. The reason I agree with that is because in 2023, the Atlanta Braves offense was the best offense on paper. Now, you may not agree with that in a sense of, some people have a take on it that's old school take, whatever, that's fine. But as far as weighted runs created plus goes, slugging goes, the Braves have the best all-time offense that we've ever seen. So Ronald Acuna was the catalyst of that, right? He had a 400 plus on base percentage in 2023. And people keep saying, I keep getting told, well, he took a step back in 2024. Well, he played 49 games and he still had a 351 on base percentage and he was on pace to steal 53 bases. So you take that away from the leadoff spot and it's like the entire lineup just crumbled. Sure, more and more injuries kept piling up. But, at one point you had Jared Kelenic leading off for the Braves. That went great for a few weeks. And then it wasn't great. And there really weren't any other options because Michael Harris was down. And so I think that is, I don't want to say that people are overlooking it, but I think that is the most important thing that either Ronald Acuna or Spencer Strider brings to the table is that he is the catalyst for that offense. He gets the buck going, man. He's on base to start the game. Okay, awesome. Now Matt Olson's getting lots of fastballs. Now Austin Riley's getting lots of fastballs. He's stealing bases and getting in scoring position for them. Like, I think the Braves really, really, really missed that in 2024.
Absolutely.
So
I also think
that
our pitching staff, while Spencer Strider would immensely help that pitching staff, they can hold it down a lot better than our outfield can without Acuna.
And there would be some people who would disagree with you on that. I'm a little more optimistic on their ability to stay healthy and things, but it's an interesting question. Evan, what were you about to say just a moment ago?
No, I was gonna say that, like, it's real, like, it's real crazy that we all agree Acuna's more important than he is, but the whole thing is, I still think Strider might be like a Cy Young finalist when all is said and done.
I mean, that would be, trust me, you're speaking to the, little boy in my heart when you say that, because I am as big a Spencer Strider fan as anyone. So I would love to see Spencer Strider come back in mid to late April and then just look like the absolute freak that he is, because that is what he is. I call him a freak all the time. I've never seen a human being more in tune with their body, let alone a baseball player. I mean, he's a weird guy for one. Spencer Strider is a strange guy, but he utilizes that weirdness and that strangeness to become the best baseball player he possibly can be. So no, it would not surprise me at all if he comes back and does not experience a lot of the same issues that other people experience in their first season back from Tommy John, because for all we know, he has developed some crazy new rehab that nobody's ever tried before. Like, that's just how he is. The guy has, he has a database of music that he ranks in his spare time. This is what he does in his spare time. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him succeed. Speaking of freak pitchers, who I would not be surprised to succeed in 2025, Jacob deGrom is finally healthy. We're all NL East fans. We've watched Jacob deGrom for a number of years. I think freak is what we would all call him. Honestly, he's just unlike anything I've ever seen. What do you guys think is a fair expectation for Jacob deGrom in 2025?
Man, if Jacob deGrom stays healthy, just go ahead and give the Rangers at least the American League right here and now. Because, I mean,
I feel the same way. I'm with you.
Like Texas' staff is already good enough. Adding a healthy deGrom to that, who the last time we saw him fully healthy, he was an All-Star in 2021, and then a couple years before that, All-Star 2019, All-Star 2018, and he can still easily reach that level again. And add in Texas' lineup. Oh man,
yes,
man. If he stays healthy, I'm glad that none of our teams are in the AL West.
I think that the Rangers are being criminally overlooked when people talk about the American League. What they've done this offseason has been awesome, because I remember coming into the offseason, there were rumors that they wanted to cut payroll and stuff like that. And of course, Braves fans need a shortstop in their mind. So the first thing they thought was, oh, well, they're great. They're going to cut payroll. We'll just trade for Corey Seager, which is like, no, that's not how. That's not where they're going to cut payroll. They want to cut bad payroll, not the good payroll. But Rangers said, no, that's not what we're doing at all. They brought in a bunch of guys. They brought in Jock Peterson, who I love so much. He's like 99.9% of the reason this ad exists. So I think you're making a great point. I think like I said, criminally overlooked. When you compare them to the Yankees just don't excite me the way that the media seems to love them. I mean, yeah, Aaron Judge is there.
It's the
The
Yankees. You
rotation's
know they're the
great.
media's favorite team.
Bullpen's great. Yes, they are. And
the
it's
Red
perfectly
Sox are better
understandable.
than I think the Red
I
Sox are
think
better
so
than them.
too. I think the Red Sox now, and some of that very easily could just be recency bias because the Red Sox just capped off their offseason, whereas the Yankees did most of their work early in the offseason. They brought in Max Fried, they brought in Devin Williams, they brought in Cody Bellinger, but they did lose Juan Soto. So that's a tough conversation to have. I still think the Yankees are very good. So anybody who watches this and is like, Beans hates the Yankees. No, that's not what I think at all. I think the Yankees are very good. I think that the Rangers and the Red Sox, for your point, Wendy, are just overlooked a little bit, even though the Red Sox are getting a bunch of flowers right now. Yes, they are. Admittedly so, because somebody will freak out about me saying that, I'm sure.
Well, we are never beating them allegations.
No. I mean, people are always going to think I'm a Yankee hater, Philly hater, Dodger hater. They're right. I am a Dodger hater. No, I'm just kidding. I do. Look, let's be real, okay? Anybody who thinks like, oh, these guys just hate the Dodgers. Look, league-wide, we are all extremely jealous of what the Dodgers have.
Yeah.
We would love to have what the Dodgers have. It makes you hateable.
You have to accept it. I mean, you paid all these players. You have to accept it.
Embrace it. Yeah, just be stoked about that. Be stoked that you are so good. Everyone fucking hates you. So, anyways, moving on, because this was not supposed to be a Dodgers talk. But just a couple stats real quick on DeGrom. Very, very, very small sample size, yes. But in 2024, he did make 3 starts. He threw 10.2 innings pitched, had a 1.69 ERA with a 2.32 FIP. That's pretty good. It is just 10.2 innings pitched, so who knows? The fastball was, again, small sample, but 97.7 miles per hour. Sounds awesome, except when you talk about Jacob DeGrom, when he got injured, his fastball was 98, 99. So are we going to see a little bit of a dial back there? Maybe. I don't think it's that huge of a deal. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he just had surgery and second surgery of his career.
Yeah, second surgery. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I don't have faith that he's going to be back to who he was. I'm very low. I'm very low on, not very low. I don't want to say that. He's going to be a good pitcher. He's Jacob DeGrom. He's going to be good. That's just how it's going to be.
You just don't think have the expectation that he will be.
Pitcher. No, I don't think he's going to necessarily be an ace. I think he'll be the best 2, maybe. I don't know. What can you expect with a second Tommy John surgery? I
think that's very fair, especially at 36 years old.
Completely wrong, but
I think he wins the Cy Young.
Oh,
that's what I think. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, it's. I mean, I think there's nobody that, I don't know. I've told people this for years. Jacob DeGrom, in his prime, yes. I mean, Wanda, you're absolutely right that he could be, like you said, he could take a step back. Whatever, can't see my little things. Take a step back and be the best 2 in baseball. And everybody would be like, well, he's just not the same anymore. And it's like, yeah, he's still pretty awesome.
He's still a really good pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. That's just how I feel. Jacob DeGrom's the most talented pitcher I've ever seen. I've never seen anybody do what he does. And if he's even anywhere close to what he used to do, I think that there's a lot better pitching in the National League. But
I guess
the American League is pretty thin. Now, Tarek Skubal, he could absolutely just dominate the league again and win it again. But I think DeGrom, I think Jacob DeGrom's going to have a very, very
Kansas City going to have somebody in that conversation too.
Kansas City
going to get somebody in that conversation. Yeah.
They had Seth Lugo in that conversation last year, which was wild.
I mean,
Kansas City was
could be him, or really could be Cole Reagans. If I'm being honest,
Cole Reagans, man, that guy.
Could be Cole Reagans.
He's special, dude.
I mean, even the prospect for the Tigers that I don't know if he's going to start in the league this year, but he should. Jackson Jobe, he's a lefty right along.
Let me tell you, I seen that boy with my own eyes. I seen that boy Jackson Jobe pitch with my own eyes. He is a dog. He is an absolute menace. Yes,
insane.
Like he's scary.
I will admit I have never watched him pitch. Never. Not even once. So I
when you do, remember
I can't
to look out.
Okay. All right. Jackson Jobe. Is he a lefty? I didn't realize that.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah, he's a lefty.
That does make him more intriguing because I don't know. I have a thing for left-handed pitchers.
But the Tigers are going to be, with those two, it's going to be nasty.
And then you got Flaherty, another one. Man, I just love their pitching staff.
Yeah, their pitching staff is nice.
Yeah.
Talk about depth. Tigers they have depth.
No, Jackson Jobe is a righty. I thought so.
Oh, he is? I thought
he is a righty.
I don't know why I thought he was a lefty then.
That's okay. I've been wrong before on that as well. No, there was a guy recently that I was.
I've been wrong.
Oh, Griffin Canning. When we traded for Griffin Canning, I was completely convinced he was a left-handed pitcher, and I was all in on it because I love left-handed pitchers. And then I found out he was a righty, and I was like, that's kind of messed up. But yeah, it's just true. Left-handed pitchers are more valuable in this game because it's like, yeah. So, all right. Well, like I said, I've got my crazy prediction out there that he wins the Cy Young. But
if anyone were to do it, of course, it would probably be him.
I agree. It would be very Chris Sale like.
Yeah.
To pull that off. I mean, it would be
a lot different injuries, though. I feel like so.
Very different injuries. Yes, that's true. I think I'm like 99% sure that Chris Sale's Tommy John was his first Tommy John, and then Chris Sale had some. I don't know. He had the weirdest injury luck I've ever seen.
Yeah, like
fell off a bike, broke his wrist.
Yep.
He took a comebacker.
TV or whatever.
Yeah, 2023 or 2022 was like not his year. 2022, he took a comebacker off a rib in spring training, broke a rib, missed like the first 2 months of the season. Comes back, his first game back, he takes a comebacker off the hand and breaks 2 fingers. And then while he's rehabbing with that, he falls off a bike and breaks his wrist. And it's just like, my God, that poor guy. He deserved that Cy Young just for that season.
Oh, my goodness,
I'm very happy for him. So, moving on, we're going to be talking about we call it a battlefield. That is the NL wild card. It's a gauntlet is what it is. The American League is like, it's like National League, American League. There's no comparison. Teams in the American League that have a chance to make the postseason would be 4th and 5th place teams in the National League. So I just wrote down the teams that I realistically believe have an actual shot at making a wild card spot. I didn't write the Dodgers down because the Dodgers are going to win the NL West.
Making a wild card.
Like,
They're not making
even
a wild card spot. Let's
there's
not.
They're
0% chance. They are. I mean,
Just
I would
put them to the
love
championship already.
but yeah, and that's kind of how I feel too. But
CS, just put
yeah,
them
put
there
it
already.
in
And just
the NLCS.
move on.
Somebody's got to take down that giant at some point. But the Braves, Phillies, Mets, Diamondbacks, Padres, Cubs, Brewers, Reds, and then at the end I have Pirates and Giants ? And like, because I do think both of those teams are still good, but I don't know. Like, we'll have to see where they go. But I have more faith in the Giants than I do the Pirates. Sorry, Pirates fans.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
you do nothing, you're not gonna get a lot of faith in you.
Right,
But
exactly.
the Giants are at that point with me where like they still gotta like prove it to me. Like I still gotta see them at least in the race in like the middle of September. Like they need to at least still be relevant by then.
Well, I will say that in August they were in the wild card race. They were one game back of the Braves. And then the Braves came into town and took 3 out of 4 and basically ended their season. And that series was awesome. We had that like legendary Chris Sale, Blake Snell, pitchers duel that like
lefty,
I don't know. It was awesome, dude. Like even like that game, like the Braves were in a tough spot because the Braves, honestly, the last 3 months of the season, every single game the Braves played felt like a playoff game. Every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that game ends up being a 1-0 game. And it was, Sale goes like that. Did he go 7 or 8? I don't know. Sale, but it was like he couldn't, it didn't matter what Sale did because Blake Snell was doing the exact same thing on the other side. And then it was just an incredible game to watch. So I won't get too far into it. Now, I will say for the Giants, losing Blake Snell is a big thing, especially losing him to the Dodgers. I don't think we've talked about that enough this offseason, that if the Giants really wanted a chance, I feel like they would have needed to re-sign Blake Snell. And not only did that not happen, they lost him to their biggest rival.
That's been the Giants lately. Like they
that's a good point.
Coming so close. Like they keep coming so close to making these moves. They come so close to signing these players, and then right at the last second, something happens. Like something always happens, and it just doesn't get done.
They did get Willy Adames. Yeah, they did get Willy Adames.
They did.
Willy Adames feels like a consolation prize for what happened with the Carlos Correa incident and then the Arson Judge tweet. Like,
oh, Lord.
2 off seasons in a row. That fan base got their hopes all the way up here and then got
crushed,
stabbed in the fucking back last second. And like that's rough. Now, maybe they're stoked that they missed out on Correa given the injury issues and stuff that he's had since, but when he's on the field, he's still a fantastic player. I mean, you can't take that away from him. But I don't know, the Arson Judge incident has to be like their Gallipoli, their 9/11, whatever you want to call it. It was rough. Anyways, but is there a team? I'm gonna pose this question to both of you guys. Is there a team that you look at and you say, I think that team could. I think that team will be a wild card team, and maybe it's not a team that you expect.
A team that we're not expecting that could be a wild card team?
I mean, yeah, like one of the teams that I mean, you've got, I hate to say it like this, maybe an NL Central team. Hey, look,
boy.
okay,
Oh boy.
Look.
Maybe next year.
Hey, they're gonna be really fun.
I'm gonna die
year,
on this
right?
hill, bro. I'm gonna die on this hill. I do not care. We're gonna be in the race.
I absolutely believe that they will be relevant this year. I don't think they're going to be a rollover team at all. And honestly, I don't think that's a crazy take either. You guys do have. Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but
no, I know, yeah.
You guys do have a lot of young talent that is very good.
Oh yeah.
One guy
they're gonna be so fun to watch.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to be a blast to watch. It's going to be like, it's probably going to feel like the 2018 Braves. The only difference is when the 2018 Braves happened, the rest of the National League East was just dog water, So it was like,
I don't know what was happening.
It's like, okay. I never understood what happened to the Nationals that year either. Because they came right back the next year, and honestly, early on in 2019, it looked like they weren't worth a damn either, and then they went on, honestly, the craziest run to end a season I've ever seen. I mean, what were they? What 19 and 31 in what May? Was it May?
In May 24th.
May 24th. And
I
then
think what
they
a lot of people miss about that season was that we were never bad. We were just really, really, really hurt the first 50 games.
Yeah. Lots of crazy stuff was going on with the Nationals that first few weeks. But yeah, so I don't think that's a crazy answer. I think
no, it's not.
Now, I'll be honest, I don't think that they make the postseason. No offense. Sorry, Evan. I don't think that they do, but they are going to be a blast to watch. James Wood, man. Like, what we saw from him last year was very good, and I don't even think we saw the tip of the iceberg.
You did.
With what the guy can do.
You did.
Yeah, so it's going to be maybe not 2025, but 2026, 2027, the Nationals are going to be really dangerous.
But I'm gonna end on this point. You know what we don't have no more? Patrick Corbin.
Yeah, that's true.
That's huge.
That is true. I'm actually like semi shocked that he did not get a deal anywhere yet, because the Corbin's not good. He's not good. But one thing he does do is that man posts, dude. And I thought that maybe some bad team would see value in that and be like, hey, here's $3 million. Come give us a exactly.
We know
here's $3 million.
Just say the White Sox.
Yeah. Come give us 189 innings of a 6.2 ERA. We don't care.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened. But all right. So his answer is the Nationals. One day you gotta.
It's so hard because it's really gonna be who wins the NL Central, who wins the NL East.
Right.
I mean, 3 teams out of the NL East are making the playoffs. To me, that's what's gonna happen. Like it's the top 3.
Yeah,
and then
I feel pretty positive about that as well.
And then it's one of whoever wins the Central, and then the Dodgers, obviously. And then who are the rest of the spots going to be? Is it going to be, say the Reds win the Central, which I don't know.
You're really only talking about one more spot.
Exactly. You got like 5 teams to fit into one spot, or 4 teams fit one spot. And honestly, I think it's probably going to be the Diamondbacks fitting in that last spot.
So my prediction officially, my prediction is that the Mets, Phillies, and D-backs are the wild card teams. I believe in the Braves. It's not just because I'm a Braves fan. That offense 2 years ago was insane, and they're healthy, and there are some questions about the pitching staff. That's fair. I will not downplay that at all. Phillies and Mets are not going to be far behind them a couple games. But if there was a team that I could pick that I think most people are like, okay, it's probably not their year, is the Reds. I think the Reds did a lot of really fun stuff this offseason. They went and got Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux doesn't he doesn't jump off the paper at you and it's like, oh, okay, like it feels like he's been around forever already. But last year in the second half, he had a 152 weighted runs created plus with an 899 OPS. And that's half a season. So maybe he figured something out and we're going to see Gavin Lux take the next step. And if he does that for them, I don't know where they're putting all these infielders, but
all these second basemen.
Yeah, they have 400 second basemen. You're right. But it's definitely intriguing. They have a lot of talent there. And I think their pitching staff, especially the rotation, took the step that they needed to take in 2024 with Hunter Green. I know Lodolo still wasn't quite what they probably would like to see, but
he's just hurt all the time.
That's the problem. Yeah, he's just not healthy. So I think that we see them take a step that we thought they were taking in 2023. Maybe they don't make it, but they would be my fun pick to make it. And
if they do make it, it's between the Cubs and the Diamondbacks and the Brewers. Then who doesn't make it?
Yeah, so that's tough. I
mean, two of those teams don't make it.
I don't have an answer for that. But last year on today's February 17th, 2025, we talked about that earlier coming into the episode. February 17th, 2024, if you would have said, hey, the Braves are going to have to play game 162 in a doubleheader to earn their way into the postseason, none of us would have believed that.
No.
We would have been like, what are you talking about? They had the best offense we've ever seen last year, and they're getting like they're adding to their rotation. On paper, that team was insane, but that's all it takes is one of these teams to, really struggle with injuries, and the Reds or maybe the Nationals, whatever, to step up and kind of take advantage. And we see it happen every year, man. It's like you never know. So
no, absolutely.
The National League is insane. They're so much better than the American League. It's kind of sad because I remember when the American League was like, well, no, I'll tell you what the sad part is. We still can't seem to find a way to win the damn All-Star game every year. The National League is 10 times better than the American League. They still lose the All-Star game. Doesn't make any sense.
And now that everybody gets to wear their own jerseys, now maybe we're gonna bring the sauce back, and we're gonna bring the sauce back, and we gonna
I know. I was so excited that they did that. Just in time for it to come to Atlanta. They're gonna have regular jerseys, and we get the big lettering back on the jerseys this year, and it just lots of great things happening just in time for it to come to Atlanta. I still would have preferred for. What? No, what's that? Go ahead.
Part of me wanted it in Atlanta, like All-Star game jersey, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be upset about it because it's gonna look.
Yeah,
a lot
I
better.
was interested to see, like, because there have been some pretty bad ones the last few years. So I was like, all right, hopefully the Braves will not fumble this bag.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully they'll get it right. And then when it was like, oh no, everybody's going back to their regular jerseys, it was like, oh, thank God, we don't have to be
All right, don't
another
worry.
team that they're like, what the fuck were they thinking?
All right, now just don't fumble the patch. Don't fumble the patch on the sleeve.
Yeah, I know. I think the patch is going to be pretty. The thing about the Braves is they're very. How do I say this respectfully? They're very white, and they're very. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. They're very Southern Yankees is the way I would describe them. They everything's very plain, and so I think that that's exactly what I'm going for. It's basic. It's gonna be like, okay, well, it's not terrible because they didn't try to do too much with it, but it's okay. It's gonna be like that. That's that. There's a lot of things the Braves do that I'm like, well, it could be worse, but it's good. I'll take it. So, I mean, that's just my and I'm the biggest Braves fan in the world. Everybody knows that. But they're a lot of times they're pretty vanilla. So, anyways, my final take on the National League wild card is that a lot of good teams are going to be sitting at home in October, while the American League runs out a couple teams that would have had no business making the postseason in the National League. So
that's fair.
It's going to be, fair. I think that's where we're going to be. But anyways, well, that's about it for today. We've kind of went over really where I wanted to go, but it was good conversation. I enjoyed talking with you guys. It was a fun time. Can't wait to do it again. So,
for sure.
Yeah. So we'll be back Friday with another episode. The plan is to start doing Mondays and Fridays. So look out for more Beanball Buzz coming at you guys soon. Have a good day, guys.
Peace out.